welcome to the Thank You for Knitting YouTube channel. Today's video is not a normal podcast. It is a video about quick gift knit ideas. So the inspiration for this video came about because I found myself making very last minute plans to go and visit some family this Christmas, and we only have about 2 weeks left before we head off. So I know I don't have to do gift knitting, and I'm definitely not doing extreme gift knitting this year, but because we're going there, we live in New Zealand, and if we ever want to ship things to the US or really just shipping things outside of the country, it's pretty expensive, so I often just don't do it. So when I'm going, it's just a great opportunity to bring things because I don't have to ship them. So I thought I would like to do a little bit of gift knitting this year since we're going back. We're only seeing certain members of my family and my husband's family. We're not seeing everyone. And I'm certainly not going to make individual gifts for everyone, but I like making gifts for people. And so I thought if I can make a few small and quick things for certain people, then that'll be fun. And I'd like to do that. So if you've seen my normal podcast, you might know I'm in the middle of my Frogger finish. And this Christmas gift knitting thing is definitely interrupting my Frogger finish a little bit, but honestly, I don't mind if Frogger finish carries a little bit into January this year. That's fine. It's a self-imposed rule anyway, so I can do it in January, and that's okay. So yeah, basically I found myself kind of suddenly wanting to make some quick gifts and sort of scouring Ravelry and also watching a few videos and just trying to find some inspiration on quick but fun and useful gifts to make for people, or not necessarily useful. Some of them are purely decorative and adorable, but things that I think people would actually like. And so yeah, I wanted to share that with you because I basically curated a list of 35 patterns. The criteria for the video is that this is a bundle of things that I either have made as gifts or am planning to make as gifts or really would make as gifts. So it's not just ideas, it's very specific to things that I've either made or I'm considering making. And I've separated them into, I think, 6 categories. Let me check. Yeah, I've got 6 different categories of gift ideas. Each category has, well, 5 of the categories have 5 items, 1 of the categories has 10 items in it. So basically I'm gonna go through them kind of quickly and try to just, I'll show you if I've made the thing, I'll show you my version of it. If I haven't made it, I'll insert a photo. I grabbed a couple of balls of yarn from the shop to show specific yarn ideas for some of these, and I'll just try to get through them relatively quickly. I'm not going to try to waffle on about them, but I just want to sort of put it out there as these are some great ideas. Now, before I get started, I wanted to mention that I think we generally think the thicker and bulkier the yarn, the quicker the knit. And that is often true, but I have decided that technically speaking, the speed of your knitting depends on the number of stitches that you're knitting. So if you're knitting, so this is my working theory, and you can disagree with me if you'd like to, but if you're knitting 400 meters of yarn, let's say, or 200 meters of yarn, it doesn't matter how thick the yarn is. What matters is the actual number of stitches you're doing, because that dictates the amount of time that it actually takes, is the amount of time per stitch multiplied by the number of stitches. So my theory is that if you're knitting something small in a thinner yarn, it may or may not be a similar amount of time as something bigger in a bulky weight yarn. So all that is to say that not everything in this list is bulky or super bulky. There are a few things that are finer weight, but they're small enough items, they require a small enough amount of meterage that I still think they can be done quite quickly. So I've included them in the list because my basic criteria for this list is I've got 2 weeks. I'm gonna have time to make 2 or 3 things, maybe 4 things, I don't know, depends on how much I decide I wanna do. But I'm kind of generally hoping that most of these items would only take 1, 2, 3, maybe 4 days to make total. So that's kind of the general criteria, but beyond that, a lot of them are in different yarn weights. but of course they're all relatively small. There's no garments in here. There are a couple of baby garments, but there are no adult-sized garments in this list. So my list categories are feet, then the category of basically adult accessories, and that's a mix of different things. Then we have hot water bottle covers, kind of kitchen home items, and then we have ornamental or decorative little things, and then we have a few baby or children's knits. Yeah, let's get right into it. So my first category of ideas is feet, and this is adult feet, although theoretically you could do any of these concepts for children as well. Some of these patterns I think even have children's sizes, but I've got 5 patterns in here. The first one is called Nola's Slippers. Now this is a slipper pattern that I have knit twice before. I've never knit them as gifts. I've knit 2 pairs that were both for myself, but I absolutely would knit them as gifts. I find them so easy, very fast, and I think they look really cute as well. So these are the 2 pairs that I've knit. These have been worn a lot and I have not depilled them, so I'm sorry if they look a little ratty, but this is Nola's Slippers by Nola Miller. This is a free pattern, and this is knit on a 5.5mm needle, and it's worsted plus worsted held together, so it's essentially, they're calling it super bulky. So this is the first pair that I made. Sorry, they are looking a bit used. I wear them around the house, but they are just super practical, and you know, the other thing that's great about them is that you can just use scrap yarn. So for this pair I used 2 or 3 different scrap yarns held together at different times, and yeah, I just wear them to death at home. So super practical. I think each time I knit these, I did it in maybe 2 days. They're just very, very quick. I like the construction of them as well. It's pretty straightforward. If I recall correctly, I think you knit the ribbing on the ankle first, then you knit like a flap for the top, and then you go around and decrease to make the bottom of the foot. I think that's how it's done. But I remember it being very straightforward. It felt very customizable. If you could just roughly figure out somebody's shoe size, I think you could absolutely make them a pair of these in a couple of days, and they would make a really lovely gift. And just briefly, this is the second pair that I made, also for myself, in just 2 strands of, one was kind of like a dark brown yarn, and one was more of a neutral brown. Actually, I think I held mohair with this one. Yep, I used mohair as well. So I had two different colors of brown and 1 strand of mohair. So they're a bit fuzzy, super warm, cozy. Yeah, I totally love this pattern. As I said, free pattern. I'm sure I'll make more of them. So the second pattern in the feet category, and these might take a bit longer than a couple of days because there are 2 of them, but I have made, I think, 4 pairs of these before. This is the Bear Paw Socks by Andrea Mowry, and they are essentially a DK weight sock pattern. And I think the way she wrote it is that you're holding 2 strands of traditional sock weight yarn together, so 2 strands of 4-ply, but you could equally use 1 strand of DK as long as it's approximately the right gauge. They're knit on a 3.5mm needle, so that's a big needle for a sock, and obviously you have a much smaller stitch count than you would with a normal sock, so they really do go pretty quickly. And you could also make them as shorty socks to go even quicker. These are the 4 pairs that I made. The first 2 pairs I made out of my hand spun yarn. Again, I wear my socks. I wear my hand knit socks all the time, so they don't always look beautiful, but these are the hand spun pair, the first one I did, and I just customized these to work with my hand spun because in the beginning when I was spinning, my yarn was coming out usually about an 8-ply. I was having a hard time. I can spin thinner now, but it took me a little while to get there. So that was my first pair. Okay, never mind. This other one was my first pair, but I knit these in quick succession. This is the other one. This is also my hand spun. I really like the colors on that. These socks look a little bit funny when they're not on a foot because they're all over 2x2 rib, and so they stretch quite a lot. So they fit beautifully, but they look a little funny when they're not being worn. I knit both of these pairs. It looks like it took me maybe 5 or so days per pair, so it takes a little bit longer, but if you have that much time, they could be done. So those are my 2 hand spun pairs. I just looked at my Ravelry projects and it looks like I actually made 6 of these. 1 pair I've given away to a friend, so I don't have them with me. But I have this pair, which I did in 2 different sock yarns. One of them was an opal self-patterning one, and one was just a dark navy. And then I kind of did these stripes at the top. So they're quite cute. On some of my DRK Everyday socks, I have modified them so that I have just stockinette on the bottom of the foot. Her original pattern has ribbing all around, like in that one. But sometimes I like just a smooth stockinette on the bottom of the foot, so I just modify for that. And this is my final pair, which I also did a stockinette bottom. This is 2 strands of a yarn that we carry here. It's the Yarn Floozy Machinist yarn, which is merino yak nylon, and it's really lovely. So I had 2 strands together in 3 different colors, and I was just sort of marling them. So that one's really pretty, I think. And let's see. Yeah, what's nice about this pattern is it comes in 11 different sizes. So I think that is intended to fit children of different ages and different adult sizes as well. So you can make these for a lot of different people. If you made a pair of these for a little kid, they would go quite quickly and they would be very cute. So that is the second one in the foot category. The third pattern in the feet category is also a pair of DK weight socks. Now this is Hibernal DK socks by Summer Lee. Summer Lee is definitely one of my favorite sock designers. I love the colors she chooses, the textures, the patterns. These socks I loved knitting. I would have showed you these on my normal podcast. These are the Hibernal DK. So this beautiful little kind of faux cable stitch. It looks like a cable, but it's not, and it's very, very easy. It's an easy pattern to memorize, and they knit up pretty quickly. And again, if you are even more pressed for time, you could make them quite short, and then they would be even more quick. They're on a 3.25 millimeter needle. It's a DK weight, and oh, I should probably mention that I did modify them because I always like to do a short row heel. That's my preference. I find it easier, faster, and I like the fit of it. And so I just basically took her stitch pattern and then I did it with my own heel style, which you can always do if you find a heel that works for you. But yeah, that's another great one, Hibernal DK by Summer Lee. The last 2 patterns in the feet category I haven't made, but they're on my list that I would like to make them, so I thought I would just quickly mention them as well, and I'll insert a photo. The first one is Thickmas socks by Summer Lee. So again, it's fingering plus fingering, or 2 strands of sock weight yarn held together, or you could hold a single strand of DK. It's a 3.5 millimeter needle, and it looks like she's marling different colors together in different ways that look really pretty. I have knit a similar pair of socks before, which was not this pattern, but I just marled different colors of sock yarns together and sort of faded them, and they were really fun to make, pretty quick. And again, this pattern comes in baby, toddler, child, small, medium, a bunch of sizes. Definitely enough sizes, I think, for anyone that you would want to knit them for. So that one looks great. Haven't knit them yet. Hopefully I will. And the last one is just another pattern that I haven't knit yet, but it's on my list of favorites and I've always really liked it. It's a free pattern. It's called Laid Edges by Kelly McPherson, and it's just a really elegant sock. So this is an option that kind of differs from the other ones I've been showing, where you would just use a solid color, probably. I mean, you could use anything you want, but in her photo, she's used a solid color. And it just has this beautiful little braided looking detail that runs down the side of the foot. I've always wanted to make this pair of socks. It's always kind of on my short list, so I'm sure at some point that I will. And again, yeah, 3 millimeter needle, DK weight, free pattern, and I just think it's really elegant and beautiful and would make a great gift. So that's it for the feet category. The next category is the longest one, which is basically adult accessories, and this includes a few pairs of mitts, a few hats, a headband, a couple of small scarves or shawls. So where should I start? Okay, so I have 3 pairs of mitts, and the first one is a pattern of mine. I designed these 2 patterns. I call them Black Cat Basics, and the idea behind Black Cat Basics is these patterns are completely geared towards absolute beginners, and so I think you could do them as your very first knitting project. And they're super quick, very, very easy, but totally cute and wearable. So the first one, I'll do the cowl later actually, we'll do mitts first. The first one is just called Black Cat Basics Mitts, and again, these patterns are super easy, and they're free, so it's just a free download. This is the mitts. Very simple. So there's no thumb shaping, there's no shaping in the pattern at all. It's just garter stitch for the hand and then 2x2 ribbing for the wrist. So there's no decreasing or increasing when it comes to the wrist. It's just that the ribbing pulls it in nicely, so it gives it a shape, but really it's just quite literally a rectangle that you then seam up the side and you leave a hole where the thumb goes. So they could not be simpler. They require a very small amount of yarn. It looks like you only need between 44 and 162 meters of yarn. So I also wrote these there's toddler sizes through men's large, so a wide range of sizes. I've seen some toddler versions that are so tiny and cute, and you can make these for anyone, and they're super quick, super easy. I used Malabrigo Rios, which is worsted weight, and a 4mm needle. So that's that, Black Cat Basics mitts. And just to show you an example of Malabrigo Rios, because we carry it in the shop, the color I used is Frank Ochre, which is more solid. But a lot of the colors are beautifully variegated and would make a really special looking hand knit gift. So you would only need less than a skein to make a pair of these mitts. Okay, the next pair of mitts I've showed on here before, and this is an example of when I was saying that it is a thinner yarn, but because it's small, it's still pretty quick. So these are the Cloudburst mitts. I've shown them on my normal podcast before. I've made 2 pairs of these. And this is a fingering weight or 4-ply pattern. I have not used the recommended yarn, but I have used for both pairs the Zelana Air, which is a yarn we carry here. And it's a super luxurious yarn, which is a mix of cashmere, possum, and silk. So it creates a super soft, luxurious finished product. You only need 1 25-gram ball to make a pair of these. And so it's a pretty affordable gift, but it's extremely luxurious and I think very, very classy. It says you only need between 140 to 150 meters of yarn. So instead of focusing on the weight of the yarn, I think focus on the meterage, because if it's only 150 meters worth of stitches, you know, it can still be done very quickly. I think both pairs that I've made have only taken me 2 or 3 days, something like that. So they can go quickly, and I just think they're really, really classy and lovely. So that's Cloudburst by Arienne Gray. That is also a free pattern. And the third pair of mitts that I have on my list, I haven't knit yet, but they're on my short list to make as gifts. They're called Fingerless Gloves Leaves by Valentina Fezova Georgieva. And they are Aran weight. It's a 5mm needle. You only need 120 meters of yarn. I think it would be very quick. I'll insert a photo. They just have a beautiful kind of lace, very simple looking lace detail on the hands. And again, I think they take a basic mitt and elevate it a little bit. They look classy. They look sophisticated. I think these would be a beautiful gift to receive. And yeah, quick and fun to make. So I definitely plan to make a pair of these at some point. They are on my short list. Okay, then I have a couple of hats. These are all hats that I have frequently made as gifts. Sorry, not all of them. The first 2 are hats that I have made multiple times as gifts. So the first one is called Georgia Beanie. This is by Alex, my friend, and this is done in Spin Cycle Plump. And I think, yeah, I only used 1 skein to make this. I think if you make the longer brim, you would need more than 1 skein, but I have certainly made this sample with just one skein, and it's still enough to fold up the brim. And so I have made, it looks like I've made 3 of these hats. The reason I thought I had made more is that Alex also has a pattern called Georgie Beanie, which is the, I think, worsted weight version. I'll insert a photo of that as well. Yeah, it's the worsted weight version of the Georgia Beanie. So basically it features this really lovely broken rib stitch, which for me is very rhythmic and fast. It's also a beautiful way to show off a multicolored yarn, I think, with just breaking it up with that texture a little bit. And then you just have a standard 2x2 rib for the brim, and then you have a tubular edge. Oh yeah, so I have made 4 of her Georgie beanies, and I have made 3 of her Georgia beanies. So altogether I've made 7 of either this or the other pattern. And I think all except for one, well, one is a shop sample. I think 5 of them, 5 or 6 of them were done as gifts. Super quick gift knit. Oh yeah, one of these in my notes, it says I started on December 26th and finished on December 27th of last year. So I mean less than 2 days of knitting. So very quick. And that was the worsted weight version. The bulky version, you can absolutely do in one evening. So these are really quick. Everybody loves a hat. I think they have just enough detail to look a little special. And depending on what yarn you pick, they can be really lovely. And I have typically always been able to make them out of just one ball or one skein of yarn. So yeah, Georgia Beanie and Georgie Beanie, love both of those. That's a bit of a 2-for-1. The next hat that I have made as gifts a zillion times is my pattern, which is called Belafonte Beanie. Here's one. Well, this is black, you won't be able to see very well. It folds up a little bit on the brim. This is the red one, which is the original first one that I've made, and I have made loads of these as gifts. It also only requires 1 skein. It just has a nice 4-point decrease, which I really like the look of, and the whole hat is in 1x1 rib. This one I think I slightly felted, so it's looking a bit fuzzy, but it's a 1x1 rib. I love giving ribbed beanies to friends and family because it's so stretchy that I think it's very forgiving depending on people's head sizes, I guess. You can fold up the brim or you can wear it slouchy. And yeah, you need 140 to 160 meters of yarn. There's child through multiple, adult large sizes. It's a 4mm needle. The whole thing is just ribbed and they make great gifts. So that is one of my go-tos for just a quick and easy gift for a friend. The final hat it's called Fidra by Gudrun Johnston. It is a bulky hat designed for Brooklyn Tweed Quarry, which is what I used for this sample. This is a shop sample. And it just has this really beautiful detail on it. I think it looks really, really cool. Super unique. It's not hard to do. It's very quick. You need 119 to 146 meters total. It's on a 6mm needle, so it's very fast. And according to my notes, I only used about 100 meters to make this one. So I actually had plenty left over in my skein of Brooklyn Tweed Quarry. And yeah, I think you could make this in like one evening and it would make a really beautiful gift. Okay, a few more adult accessories. So this is my other Black Hat Basics pattern, the Black Hat Basics Cowl. This is basically the simplest thing you can knit. Again, you only need 1 skein of Malabrigo Rios or similar, amount of worsted weight yarn. It is quite literally just a rectangle, and then you twist it before you seam it together, so you get this cute little twisted front look. I think it's a fun little detail. It's very straightforward, and again, you can have fun with your yarn choices and make it kind of special, and you could add mohair. I mean, you could, make it fluffy, use multicolored yarns, but it's just a really simple rectangle with a little twist. And I think a lot of people like a cowl, so that is a very quick little accessory. Again, it's a free pattern, which is nice. A couple more accessories. This is another pattern by my friend Alex, and this one I definitely made in probably a couple hours, one evening for sure. This is called Scrappy Headband, and it's now on an 8mm needle. It's so fast. It's broken rib with this cute little kind of twisty knot style that you do in the front. I used Spin Cycle Plump for this, less than a skein. I think it was left over from a partial one that I'd used for another project, but this was just super quick, super easy. Obviously the pattern is called Scrappy Headband, and so Alex's version uses a bunch of different strands of different yarns held together. And this is another really fun one to use up scraps, hold mohair, surrey, different colors, textures, whatever. And you can definitely make these really quickly. It's 50 to 80 meters total. There's 3 sizes, and yeah, 8mm needle. It's super bulky, so a really, really quick one and a cute gift, I think. Okay, and then 2 more for adult accessories, and these are both small shawls or scarves. The first one is also another pattern of mine, which is Firebird scarf. I guess I have a handful of my own patterns that I use as go-to gift knits, and Firebird scarf is definitely one of them. So this pattern is written to accommodate multiple gauges. And so in my pattern notes, I basically put out 3 example options, 1 in 4-ply, 1 in DK weight, and 1 in bulky weight, and gave those examples for the needle size that you can use, which I used a 4mm, 5mm, and a 6mm for those respectively. And basically you can get 1 scarf out of 1 skein of yarn generally, depending on the yarn, but all 3 versions that I did for the original were out of a single skein, and that will affect the overall size depending on the weight of yarn that you're using. So my 4-ply version, I think you can wrap it a few times around your neck and then tie it in the front, is how I wear it. The bulky weight version, you can only really wrap it once around and then tie it in the front. But this is another pattern where I've just knit a ton of these, and I've knit them as gifts because you can use, you know, if you have a single skein of yarn lying around or a special skein, or I've made a couple in cashmere for people, because then you just use a small amount of cashmere, but you can make a really beautiful accessory, and you definitely want cashmere around your neck because it's so soft. You need between 102 and 336 meters. So again, that depends on the weight of yarn you're using. It's also very customizable in terms of the size. So I kind of explain in the pattern, if you want to customize the size, this is how to basically manage your yarn and know when to change the technique that you're doing. So it's an asymmetrical, very skinny triangle scarf, and part of my original thought with the design was to use a heavily variegated yarn, and because you're knitting on the bias, it's an asymmetrical triangle, and you're constantly either increasing or decreasing throughout the pattern. So you're never going to really get yarn pooling, and your colors are always going to change how they're structured because the number of stitches is constantly changing, and then it's on a diagonal. So I don't know if that makes sense, but I just think it makes variegated yarns look really beautiful. So that is my pattern, the Firebird scarf. You can knit that in any weight of yarn, and yeah, I think it makes a pretty good gift. And okay, the final pattern for adult accessories is called Sorgenfri Turkel. I am not sure how to pronounce that, but it's by Guri Peterson or Indie Blomst. And I have not knit this, but Vibke, who works here at the shop, knit this for us as a sample. I couldn't find it, so either she might have taken it home or maybe I just couldn't find it. Basically, what's lovely about this one, I thought, was she made her version, I'll try to insert a photo, and she made her version using just 1 ball of Cardiff Classic. So Cardiff cashmere is a really beautiful 100% Italian cashmere yarn that we carry here. They come in these little 25-gram balls, and they're extremely luxurious and lovely. I mean, when you make something out of this, it really feels luxurious. And I thought it would be nice. These are just a couple of colors I grabbed off the shelf that I think are really pretty. But if you want to just make a special gift for someone, but only get 1 little ball of cashmere, you can make one of these scarves. And I think the pattern says 3.5mm needle, but I think Vibke might have used a bigger needle when she knit her sample. It's super quick. She used 1 little skein, and it's a little bit bandana shaped, so you can just kind of wrap it around your neck, and it's just really elegant and would be a quick knit, but I think, yeah, it would feel a little bit special. Oh, and that's also a free pattern, so that's nice. Okay, the next category is hot water bottle covers, and I have not made any of these yet, but I would like to make at least one or two of them, and so I'll just kind of shout them out quickly. I picked 5 patterns that I like for different reasons. These are all ones that I would consider making. The first one, and this might be my favorite one, is called Hottie Sweater by Suzanne Mueller, and this is on a 4.5 mil needle. It's a bulky weight yarn, and they've used a boucle. It says you only need a 110 to 120 meters, which is pretty awesome. So I'll insert a photo, but they've used a brown boucle yarn, and we have this yarn here, which is 50 grams, 75 meters. So you would only need, I think, 2 balls of this. This is the Cloud by Alpaca Yarns, and it's just this lovely kind of bulky boucle. Well, they call it a flet yarn, and it just has this really cozy texture. And this one is 100% fine merino, but in this beautiful fuzzy cuddly texture. So yeah, 2 balls of this, you could make this really lovely hot water bottle cover, which I think is a great gift. I think most people can put that to good use, and it doesn't have to fit any particular size. The second one is called At Least Argyle Be Warm Hot Water Bottle Cover by Nadia Makes. It is a free pattern, and it just has this beautiful argyle patterning. I'm thinking that it is intarsia, possibly. It's also a free pattern. I haven't really looked into it too much, but yeah, it says stockinette stitch and intarsia pattern. And it's 8 ply, 5 millimeter needle, less than 200 meters of yarn total, it looks like. And yeah, I just think it's super cute. So the third hot water bottle cover is called Hot Water Bottle Cozy by Valia Butenko. And this one is Aran weight, 5.5 millimeter needle, and it just has a really beautiful cabled patterning. And so I think it would look really lovely, especially in like a tonal hand-dyed kind of yarn. And again, 192 meters total, so I think it could knit up pretty quickly. The next one is called Maxine Hot Water Bottle Cover by Laura Penrose. And this one is just really pretty because it has lovely colorwork designs on it. And I think what I'm understanding about the pattern is that there are different colorwork motifs that you can mix and match together to create really unique and special looking hot water bottle cover. It's a 4 millimeter needle and a DK weight. And it just looks like there's a lot of options and a lot of customization that can be done. And again, there's some beautiful project photos that just look really special. So I think would be fun to make, would use up scrap yarn and make a lovely gift. And the final hot water bottle cover is also a free download. It's called All You Need, a Classic by London Leo. And it's DK weight, 5 millimeter needle, between 128 to 174 meters of yarn. And from what I've been able to tell, it's more like a recipe, but it means that you can customize it to different weights of yarn, and it's just completely plain and simple. So you could add details if you wanted to, but this is like a recipe or worksheet that kind of helps you through the basic shape of a hot water bottle cover, and then you can kind of get creative and go from there. So I think it's a good pattern to probably just have in your repertoire if you want to make a hot water bottle cover. Okay, whenever I say it's going to be a short video, it's never a short video. I probably shouldn't have made such a long list of things, but there's just so many good things. Okay, I'll try to get through these quickly. There's 3 more categories. The next category is kitchen things. So I have picked 5 patterns that I think are lovely, that are all on my list that I'd like to knit. Well, one of them I have knit, the other ones I haven't, but I would like to. So the first one is Toasty Plus Pot Holder by Hannah Meyer. And this is a free pattern as well. It's on the Knit Picks website. It's in worsted weight, and it's a 3.75 millimeter needle. And it's just this beautiful color work, sort of little pluses kind of design. And I just think it's super cute. It's a little pot holder. It's stranded color work, but it sounds like you work it in the round. And then I think you work it in a round and then you seam the bottom and top so that it's like double thick. And I just think it's really cute. The next one is called Baker's Twine by Ducathy. And this is a sport weight on a 3.5 millimeter needle. But I mean, with these things, you can knit them in any weight, honestly. And I just think it's quite a cute little dishcloth. It has a cute kind of I-cord hook detail that you can do in a contrasting color, and this baker's twine sort of pattern. It looks like they're marling two colors together, which looks really lovely, and I don't know, it just has kind of a cottagey vibe, and I think they look really cute, and they're super practical. You know, a hand knit cotton dishcloth is always useful, and there's so many out there that you can make. This is just a particular pattern that I think looks a little bit extra special, and I haven't knit it yet, but I did buy the pattern I think last year, and I definitely intend to make some at some point. So, and the final dishcloth is Rustic Cottage Rustic Cottage Dishcloth Collection by Esther Braithwaite. It's another free pattern, and I believe there are 4 variations. It's worsted weight, 4.5 millimeter needle, so it's very quick. Imagine making a swatch for a worsted weight sweater. Well, that's about the size of a dishcloth, so very quick. And they just have these simple texture patterns on them, which again, I think look a bit cottagey, homesteady vibes, and I think they're cute and super functional. I definitely know quite a few people in my life that I would make these for. And yeah, free pattern, super easy. Okay, the next one is very unusual, I guess. It won't be for everyone, but I guess the general theme of a set of coasters is a good idea. I've seen quite a few beautiful coaster patterns. Most of them are actually crochet. So if you dabble at all in crochet, there's quite a few beautiful little crochet coaster projects. I think you would typically make a set of 4. So imagine it's kind of like making 4 granny squares, very quick. But the one that I have selected for this list is chicken coasters. And I am thinking of making these for some members of our family. It's just a $2 pattern in USD. It is crocheted. It is on a 3.75 millimeter hook, worsted weight yarn, and I'll insert a picture. It's just these little chickens, and I think that they look really cute. And I think a little set of them in different colors. I think they would also look really cute in like handspun yarn or Noro yarn or something with a bit of variation. And then you just put the little beaks and the little, so they're cute, chicken coasters. So again, these won't be for everyone, but they are definitely for me. So I thought I would put them in this list. Okay, and the final one in the kitchen category is one that I actually have made, and I will be gifting it to some family members this Christmas. It is another free pattern, which is lovely. And it is called Rundetårn, I think, by Inge Sandholt. It is worsted weight. The recommended yarn is Cascade 220, but I have used my handspun yarn, and I think they recommend a 3 millimeter needle. I don't remember what needle size I used, but I just wanted to use my handspun yarn. So this is a French press, or if you're in New Zealand or Australia, a plunger pot cozy. And this one has just a beautiful cable design. So mine looks like this. And I just have to add the buttons. I've made these kind of afterthought buttonholes, which I think I did with a crochet hook. And I have these beautiful wooden buttons that I plan to put on them. And so basically it wraps around your French press or plunger pot coffee maker and keeps it warm and woolly. And yeah, this is for some family members who I know have a French press maker, and last time we visited them, I think someone was commenting on how the coffee would go cold a little bit quickly, so I thought, I know the perfect gift for them, and I've knitted this for them, and I will be giving it to them this year. It definitely keeps the coffee warmer for much longer with the wool, and it's also pretty. So I definitely recommend, in general, a French press or plunger pot cozy as a gift. It's quick, it's functional if you know someone who has one of those coffee makers, and yeah, quite quick. They're saying it requires 101 meters total. So yeah, that is that. Okay, 2 more categories. The next category is, I guess, tiny decorative things, and this basically is four different ornament patterns and then 1 gnome. The first one is called 2 Strands Christmas Ball by Mary Ann Stevens. There are lots of Christmas ball patterns out there. This is just one that I thought was nice, and I like the fact that it's worsted weight, or sorry, it's Aran weight, so it is quick. It's a 4.5 millimeter needle, and it is a free pattern. this is an example of a different pattern. I don't even know what this one is, but it's just a little hand knit Christmas ball. And it's super cute. And this is a fun gift if you're just making a last minute gift. I mean, most people have a Christmas tree or a place they can hang a little ornament, and you can knit them super quickly. This one, again, I don't know which pattern this is, but there's a ton of patterns out there. I just personally have added to my list this 2 strands Christmas ball because it looks relatively quick and I think it's really cute. The next one is called Enchanted Mushrooms by Drops. It is also a free pattern. It's a sport weight and they've used a 3mm needle. They say you only need 20 meters to make one, so I think you could make one in an evening for sure. Very, very quick. And it's just a really cute little mushroom, and you can use it as a hanging ornament for a tree. It could also hang off of your keychain, or you don't even have to hang it up. You could just make the mushroom and use it. Maybe children would like to play with it. I don't know. I feel like there's a lot you can do with a cute little mushroom, and I think you could knit one up super quick, and it would make a really cute little handmade gift. Okay, the next one is called Tiny Tree Socks by Summer Lee. It is a free download. It is in fingering weight yarn on a 2.25mm needle, but it takes only 24 meters of yarn, so again, super quick. Now, I have not followed her pattern specifically, but I have made a tiny sock this year, which I think I did show you already on the podcast, but we were making a really cute window decoration for the front of the shop, and part of that was I cut out in cardboard a mini sock blocker, and then I knitted this mini sock. So it's just super tiny, and it's a fun way to use a colorful yarn, and yeah, it took me, I don't know, less than one evening to just whip it up really quickly, but if you just tied it on a string, it would make a very cute Christmas tree ornament, I think. So Tiny Tree Socks by Summer Lee, or just making up your own tiny sock, whatever you want to do. Super cute little gift. Okay, the next one I also haven't made, but it is on my list to make. It's also a free pattern. It's called Holly Leaf Ornament by Faye Live, I think. And it's another crochet one, so sorry if you don't crochet, but it's DK weight, 2.5mm needle, and it's just these cute little holly leaves and berries. And I think it would make a really cute Christmas tree ornament, or you could hang it in the doorway like people hang, no, that's mistletoe. Well, anyway, you could hang it anywhere, and it's a cute little decorative item. Yeah, I think you could whip one up really quickly, and it would just be a cute little gift for someone. And the final item on this list of kind of small and decorative is a pattern called Nice to Gnome You by Sarah Schira. Now, I basically would like to recommend all of Sarah Schira's gnome patterns. She has a ton. I think she's like the queen of gnome patterns. She's got a ton of gnome patterns. This is the only one that I've made so far, but I definitely plan to make more. This one has gotten a bit sun bleached actually. So this is the gnome. This is the color it used to be, a beautiful red and kind of mossy green, but it's been in our window at the shop for so long that the front has totally gotten bleached out, but that's okay. Still cute, and he's got these little hands in his pockets. So the reason I'm recommending this one is because this one is in DK weight. Most of her gnomes are in fingering weight, although I think some are in DK weight, and this one is DK weight. And so it's just a little bit quicker if you are pinched for time, but you want to make a cute gift. I'm considering making another one of these this year for someone as a gift as well. So that is Nice to Gnome You by Sarah Schira. And all of Sarah Schira's gnome patterns are beautiful. This is the color his beard used to be, and now it's just white, but that's all right. He's super cute. Okay, my final category is things for children or babies, and I've picked 5 patterns that I have knit before, so I've knit all of these, and they're pretty quick. So the first one is Little Brother's Romper by Petite Knit. It is Arienne weight. It's on a 5mm needle, and it's just a super, super simple like onesie pattern. From 0 up to 24 months size range, so this is really for babies. I've made a few of these for my niece, and there's also Little Sister's Romper, which I think is in 4-ply. I've made that as well, but for the sake of a quick gift knit, Little Brother's Romper would probably be quicker because it is Arienne weight, and it's just super cute. And again, you can have fun with different yarn choices and different colors, cute little buttons, and it's very practical. yeah, I've made, as I say, a few of these for my niece over the years, and they have been well enjoyed. The next one is another dress that I have made for my niece. In fact, I think all of these baby things I've made for my niece, and it's called Lil Rosebud Seamless Dress by OGE Knitwear Designs. And this is on a 3.75 millimeter needle. It's a DK weight, and it is just a pretty straightforward dress pattern. It's just a garter stitch dress, but it has this beautiful lace detail along the raglan and down the sides. And I think it's very wearable. It's very cute. Yeah, it's pretty quick. It goes from 3 months up to 6 years. So clearly the bigger the size, the longer it will take. But I knit this in some really lovely hand spun yarn that I actually didn't spin myself, but I got from my friend Marina. She has a YouTube podcast as well called Strawberry Patches, which is one of the podcasts that I watch. I think at this point I watch all of her episodes. She's another New Zealand, well, she's Russian, but she's living here in Auckland. So she's a New Zealand knitting podcaster. So I recommend her podcast. Side note, check it out. I'll put the information here, and I'll link it in my description as well to check out Marina. She does a lot of beautiful knitting, and she dyes yarn, and she does a lot of spinning, and she dyes fiber, and I have spun her fiber before. I think I've showed it on here, and I have quite a little stash of her fiber at home. But all that to say, I knit using her hand spun yarn this beautiful little dress for my niece, and it's really, really cute. If I can rustle up a photo from my sister, I will try to insert that as well. The next one is called Hobbit Vest with Pocketsees by Lisa Chemery. This is designed for Brooklyn Tweed Shelter, which is a worsted weight yarn on a 4 millimeter needle. So relatively quick, and it is a vest, so it does not have sleeves, and it is relatively quick. The sizing goes from 3 months all the way up to 10 years. Again, the smaller the size, the quicker it will be. I knit this one just as a pattern sample, as a yarn sample for our shop years ago, and it's just super cute. It's got like a moss stitch, or maybe it's a double moss stitch, I think. And these little buttons and little pockets. It looks a bit like a grandpa style vest, but for a little kid. I just think it's really adorable. And yeah, I used Brooklyn Tweed Shelter for this. The color I used is Long Johns, for what that's worth. And I've made one more of these as a gift for a friend's baby as well. So I think it would make a very adorable gift. And yeah, decent size range there. So depending on who you're gifting, this vest is great, or any vest, because again, no sleeves. Okay, the next pattern is called Sunrise Bonnet by Gabrielle Nemhard, who is also my sister. So my sister has just put out, I think, 2 knitting patterns last year, and these are 2 really cute bonnets that she has made for her daughter, my niece. And this one, the Sunrise Bonnet, she was knitting a ton of different bonnets and trying to find the perfect shape and size and fit. And she said she tried a ton of patterns, and they all had issues. You know, some of them were gappy in the back, or too tight in the front, or too low, or too narrow, or whatever. And so she kind of created her own version of what she felt was like the perfect bonnet pattern, and she put the pattern out there. This is one of the samples I've made. I've made a couple of them, but I made this one in Spin Cycle Dream State because I think it's pretty cute with the multicolored yarn. There's one little button on there. And yeah, I mean, the most of the bonnet is garter stitch, and then you have, let's see, the back and ribbing at the front, and then just a short little strap and a little button. I think in her newest version you have an option for a couple of different buttonholes, so it's a bit more adjustable. But yeah, I've made a couple of these. Sunrise Bonnet, super quick, 5 millimeter needle. You need between 82 to 119 meters. And she sized it from newborn through 7 years. So again, it's Sunrise Bonnet. The designer is my sister. Definitely check it out. Go support my sister. And the last one in the baby child section is called Little Gnome Hat by Bernat Design Studio. This is also a free pattern. It is very easy. I made this as well for my niece. I will try to see if I can insert a photo as well. I just think it's the cutest thing because it's got this pointy little top. And it's also quite practical actually because it's sort of balaclava style. It's knit on a 4mm needle. It's a DK weight gauge. And if I recall correctly, I think you knit most of it just flat with the ribbing and then the garter stitch. And then you seam it at some point. I don't remember well, but the pattern is super straightforward. They say it has a skill level of easy, which I agree. It was easy. It was very fast. And it is super cute. I'll put a photo in. I think that would make a super adorable gift for a baby or a toddler. Sorry, it actually goes from 6 months all the way up to 4 years old. So there's a bit of a size range. And I do think you could pretty easily adapt it to different sizes as well because it's pretty straightforward. And my sister said that that was one of the most useful items that she had in the winter. I might make her more because she said a lot of the hats and things she can easily just pull off her own head, as toddlers tend to do. But this one, because it goes down over her neck, first of all, it covers her very well with her ears and everything. And I think it was harder for her to take off, so it stayed on. And she said it was one of the most useful items that she had in the winter. So highly recommend this pattern. And yeah, that concludes my list. So that is 35 pattern ideas for quick gift knits. Clearly we are like 2 weeks from Christmas. I'm going to try to get this video up as quickly as I can so that it can actually be useful for anyone. But these are also just gift ideas that could work for any occasion. They don't have to be for Christmas. So even if you're just at any time of the year, you want to make a gift for someone for their birthday or for any occasion, or someone's having a baby and you want to make them a baby gift, all of those baby options are really good. So yeah, I'll try to get this video out quickly. Hopefully something in here is inspiring. I will link all of the patterns below. I've actually created a bundle on Ravelry specifically for this, so I'll link that bundle so you can kind of see everything all at once. Yeah, a lot of these patterns are free, which makes it really easy. I think they're all pretty quick. I think realistically between now and Christmas, I will probably make 3 of them. That's my guess. We'll check back later, but I think I can probably make 3. And I think my Frogger finish, I'm still making progress on that, but I think it will be pushed a little bit into the new year, which I'm totally okay with. So that is my video for today. Quick gift knit ideas. If you have other ideas, feel free to mention them below. People can check the comments to get even more ideas. Yeah, hopefully something in here was inspiring, and I will see you again soon for another regular podcast episode. In the meantime, hope you're well, happy holidays, and see you soon. Bye.